All right, Scott, this week we're trying out a Metroidvania kind of side-scroller RPG hack and slash. Let's check it out.
But now it's under siege, and it's my duty to protect it. I can't let them down. They trained me to kill. But I'm my own greatest weapon.
All right, Scott, back in October, we were at EGLX, and we got to actually interview Jordan from Big Blue Bubble Games about Foregone, their newest kind of side-scroller RPG Metroidvania-style game. And let me tell you, I got to play a little bit back in October, and I was excited, and they made me wait all the way till February to play it, but now we've got our hands on it. What do you think?
Well, this is a good fun. I'm glad this caught your eye at EGLX because jumping into it, it's exactly the kind of game I like to play.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
It's this Metroidvania, like you said. We can't say that enough.
No.
It's you're exploring these places. You're building your character up with power-ups. There's a loot drop system where you kill enemies and you get just a random loot.
Oh,
you can turn that in at shops and kind of, tailor your own equipment. There's a lot to be said about this game here, but I liked it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun because I guess the hype was already there for us before it came out. So when we heard we got codes to test this one out, we got excited to check it out, and I got get thrown into the story right away. You're an arbiter, essentially a super soldier that they've created to kind of fight off these massive hordes of monsters that you're going to find all throughout the scenery as you go through the environment in this game. And it's very much like Blasphemous, which we played a couple months ago, and it's very much the same way where we're kind of searching out this fog of war, going from screen to screen on this side scroller. But this one has this RPG element where, like you said, as you start defeating enemies, they drop items that you then collect. You can view those items even, before you pick them up to see if it's even something you're worth picking up. Yep. And they keep it pretty basic for how all your inventory works. You get your melee weapon, your ranged weapon, you get some defensive stuff, and a couple, like a ring kind of amulet thing that allows some other powers and things like that. But what I liked about it is that it actually, as simple as it looks, it is much deeper, than it looks. So you get into it and you start collecting these items and you realize now you can upgrade these items, and the items you're not using you can scrap and get money and use those to upgrade yourself. And there's a whole talent tree also that you can upgrade your abilities. Well, and it kind of lets you go through, and you're moving up on critical hit percentage or health overall. So you can kind of tailor the gameplay to how you want to do it.
It does a little bit better of a job than say Anthem does, where when it drops an item, you can tell if it's rare or an ultra rare or something like that.
But you don't know what it is.
But in this game at least you know what kind of class it is. It's a melee weapon or something like that. Different than Blasphemous, this game's kind of like a future apocalyptic kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird, but you have guns as well. So
guns or bow and arrow.
Or bow and arrow, as we both discovered. Yeah, the bow is actually really good.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
But this game really rewards you for exploring the different areas and finding, sometimes there's guaranteed drops, and finding some things kind of hidden away in little corners. Metroid kind of set that. Castlevania kind of worked on that even further by putting in hidden sections and everything like that. Those are all in this game too. You find these different little corridors and all these different kind of environments that are just kind of something I haven't quite seen like this.
No, there's a ton of nooks and crannies in this one to explore, and you are rewarded for exploring the map. But to get around this map, it may seem easy at first because you're going from platform to platform, but once you start running into enemies, you start realizing that there's no health pickups here.
Yeah.
You start off with an ability that allows you to recharge your health, only up to a certain amount, and you only get that meter back as you start to defeat more enemies. Yeah. So if you get down to very little health, you find yourself in a bit of a predicament here. The nice thing about this game is if you do die, it takes you back to the main area, but you do find checkpoints along the way that you can kind of, as soon as you die, you're back in it, you can kind of blast back into that checkpoint and start over. But a lot of those checkpoints are distance-wise kind of far from the goals you're headed to. So you get back to that checkpoint, there's still quite a bit you have to do just to get back to where you were at. And I found that a little frustrating.
It's definitely frustrating.
But the fact that I can just jump back in kind of allows you to just get back in and get back into the action. So the frustration's kind of over with, and all right, let's just go beat this guy now. You know what I mean?
It's a very large world with a lot of different kind of biomes going on in it, but because of the checkpoint system, because of the warp gates, it becomes kind of like different sections separated slightly. So you get through these big long sections of kind of weak enemies, and there are a few different varieties, but it's maybe not as varied as I would hope. but then you get to something like a boss fight and you're totally unprepared.
No, and the boss fights in this game are awesome. They set it up just like, you feel like you're playing that old school, even handheld Game Boy game boss fight where, you're in the room, the music changes, the boss comes down, it's this huge thing, you're freaking out because you have no idea what it's going to do, how you're going to defend yourself. You may not have enough health before the fight even starts. So this game kind of puts you on edge, but that's what I love about it.
It makes it so good to win when you do get through that section.
It feels so rewarding.
Similar to Blasphemous again. I keep bringing that up because it really set the bar high.
It's very much
This
the same.
one is stylized in a different way, but I find it's very similar. Like the difficulty
the
is
pixel art
there.
in this game was fantastic. I just want to add that in. It looks so good. Like when you can get pixel art and people look at pixel art, maybe not see the actual art in it, but when you have flowing hair in pixel art, I'm like, that looks awesome.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the pixel is pixelated as it is. How is it still smooth? You get all this smooth motion, and when you're jumping around and moving left and right, up and down all the time, there's a lot of motion that could have really thrown that off, but they really found a way to make it work, especially with all the different enemy types.
Oh, they did a great job. And one last thing I want to touch on is actually just the audio take in this game.
Oh,
and you know what? Super underrated, I think, because you don't even notice how good it is until you're like in the game playing. So all your sound effect sounds are great, but just the music alone, the background music, how it changes when you go from kind of battle to battle. Everything about it kind of really immersed you. And I don't know, when you play a game that's feels this polished and kind of this finished, even at this stage, we're getting an early look at it. It just makes you feel kind of good about the future of it, right?
Well, that is what I'm kind of curious about. This release date is still at the end of 2020, so how is this game in early access right now? We've seen other games come out, I mentioned Anthem, that have should have taken 2 years on early access, and if they had done this, it would have, not soiled their fan base so much. This game just blew me away. Early access is something that I just think of, okay, I'm going to find some problems, the game's not going to be finished, maybe it's just
things you come to expect, especially when you play a ton of early access games.
But in this one, it didn't really leave that to the imagination. It really does fulfill on all of these weird kind of things. It sets the bar high and it nails it. It's great.
Yeah, great game. All right, Scott, we played Foregone. I don't think it'll ever be forgotten for us. If you got to score it, what are you going to give it?
This one stands out for me, and I have to give it that extra nudge. This is an 8.5 game. I could really sink a lot of time into this one.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. You know what? I love the fact that you can play mouse and keyboard or just plug a controller in, and it was seamless. I didn't have to change anything. It just recognized it. So for me, I really like that because my keyboard skills aren't great. So I plugged a controller in, enjoy this game a ton more. I'm right there with you with an 8.5. The difficulty level can make this game frustrating at times, but the ability to jump back in and try again will for sure keep you coming back.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.